Hello. Okay, mic is working. You look, the production value is so raised now. How we feeling? How we feefing? Is this a good feef? Is this an excellent feef? I don't know. I got Cal reacts on each and every one of these messages, so I'm looking heady. No, I was literally thinking that when I put up the fucking tapestry. Like, the flat gonna love this one. And when I get on stream, I'm gonna say, damn, this, you like the headiness? Like, no, I just had like this like in a closet for a minute for some reason. But I'm like, you know, could switch up the red wall. Mad decent. No, it's one of the better tapestries for sure. Almost makes you forget that we're dealing with heady tapestry territory. If you haven't submitted, now is your chance. I'm gonna give you like 2 minutes, but we're actually gonna start now. We will actually start, I assure you. The P bass. Actually, it's a J bass. Hand in your musician card. No, I don't give a fuck about gear, especially string instruments. Would that include piano? Fuck. All right. Okay, this should this work right? Is this gonna work right? Yes, it will. Fuck it, get out of there. Get out of there. No, it looks a little empty over here though. All the chat space. I'm just working on the aesthetics of it. To get it set up. But yeah, quality up. Let's hear some fucking fiefing. Wait, this isn't the first fief. This is just one I clicked to test it. Okay, this is the first fief. Let's fucking go. No sound. Fuck. It sounds pretty good. All right, can you believe me on that? Just imagine. There's a lot of wubs. There's like there's a grime acapella. All right, flock flip. Create the track I just described. Been a long time since I did grime. Been a long time since I did grime. Must burn it. Ain't tryna die, ain't tryna do time. Must work it. I do your business, I will do mine. Must learn it. Big 25, ain't wasting time. Been a long time since I did grime. Must burn it. Ain't tryna die, ain't tryna do time. Must work it. I do your business, I will do mine. Must learn it. Big 25, ain't wasting time. Grind, ain't tryna die, must burn it. Grind, ain't tryna die, must work it. Grind, ain't tryna die, must burn it. Grind, ain't tryna die, must work it. Grind, ain't tryna die, must burn it. Grind, ain't tryna die, must learn it. since I did grind. Been a long time. 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 Grind. Back then, you used to be the guy. Concerning. Can't blame me for putting up with a knife. It's curtains. Been a long time since I did grind. Mass learning. New page, mass turning. Back then, you used to be the guy. Concerning. Can't blame me for putting up with a knife. It's curtains. Been a long time since I did grind. Mass learning. New page, mass turning. Been a long time.
I like this. I was nodding, in fact. Can confirm. But the word of the day, the word of every Feedback Friday is variation. So, like, from the beginning, like, I just felt like the pace was a little slow. And even though there's a bit adding in these sections, something that can bring it together, I think, is having some kind of risers or just atmospheric effects, just filling it, but also kind of something to create this dynamic effect, you know? Doesn't have to be a crazy riser, but something to show it's still building. We're transitioning here, you know? Keep the tension, keep the sense of forward, uplifting motion, or whatever. And then kind of in here, it slaps. I like the kick. Sub hidden, probably too loud, but it's hidden. Snare, I don't know. Snare MIDI. And similar type of thing on here. Like, yes, it is the little DJ mix out, but you know, we want to build as much tension, as much hype as we can in there, even if we're not resorting to cliches, you know. Don't let that go to waste. And you want to set as much atmosphere as possible. And then, yeah, drops end up kind of repetitive. And it pretty much stays that cadence the whole time, even in it varies. It just bam, ba 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 ba. It's still like bum dun dun dun, like quarter notes or whatever. Which means, like, if you switch the phrase in a different way, like boom, 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 you know, just boom, kind of pausing at the beginning. You know, just think of new ways to kind of phrase it, right? That, or you just pick a solid riff and kind of vary the sounds. You know, like, I just wasn't satisfied with how the phrases varied. It was good, but it was a little safe, right? That, and there wasn't really any kind of sound design or like layer variation. Switch up the texture, you feel. Boom, 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 boom. The chef has cooked once more. It's hitting. Something about it feels like crowded. I mean, it is crowded. It is crowded. I mean, this is almost a kind of typical amount of layers, I feel, or something like this. But like the layers maybe just a little loud in the mix, and like kind of like the top loop and things like that might be too complex. You know, kind of fighting for your attention over other things. And when it hits here, it gives the impression of almost like a fake out, like boom, 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 boom. That's like the dubstep build-up thing. But they're just not really clear point where it starts. It feels like it's still kind of building, but then you just kind of tumble into it, you know? But as for where to take it, right? I'm roasting all across the board. But that's how it gets cooked, am I right? No, that's a great tagline. Anyways, don't know where to take this. Take it deep into your heart and embrace it. No, but TBH, like, you can probably spread it apart, flip the phrase a little. I'm saying spread it apart in terms of if you simplify the layers, you know, and add that over it and kind of extend this transition moment, and already it's can be a much longer song, just with kind of extending, smoothing the transition. And then you just times two it. More reverb. I mean, that sums it up for me. No, I see the vibe you're going for, the depths, right, with the low pass feel. The thing is, like, you gotta be careful with the low pass. Well, cause here it's just so steep. It sounds like essentially like if I turn my monitors off and I only have my sub on, that's how it sounds. You know, like in the other room type thing or whatever, you know. And also, like, even then, the sub is also kind of mid-range, you know, versus like low, you know. But I think the main concept is that I can hear the kind of sound or like the depths you're going for, right? But I think you can achieve that without completely chopping high end, you know? Even if it's just like, I don't know, like vinyl crackle or whatever corny type beat, I can think to add. You know, or I like Valhalla Shimmer. This is news. That was gamey vibes. Yes, exactly. Time with big contrast to make it even deeper, right? Or maybe you start the intro, it's like you're on the surface, but then all of a sudden you going under. You boom, boom. Feel me? And if you're going through the gamey vibe, I don't know. I mean, maybe like that's intentional coming across in the sound. But like, let's say gamey vibe, okay, simple synth sounds, no real reverb or whatever. You know, release times are valid. High release times could go crazy. you know, and really like if you have one main idea, it's like how do you turn it into song? Essentially, you just have that main idea, your loop, and just go in and out of it. Like that can work for a lot of tracks. And just more deeply layered, just more layered. Yeah, this is pretty nice. It grew on me. Like TBH, I like this last part because it was clear to discern the ding ding ding. You know, that simple kind of reverbed phrase. You know. But that's the musical content we gotta lean into, cause like I'm kind of hearing the phrases, hearing the flow, you know, holding back, playing with where the sub is hitting. But that's essentially like all I feel is kind of made clear, is discernible. You know, like there's a lot of texture and layers to it, which are cool. But what tickles me at least is when I hear, you know, musical ideas like these kind of sub bass phrases here and, you know, this melodic line. You know, at least if that's something I want to try to hear. You know, I think the textures and layers should serve the musicality or the phrases, not the other way around, usually. Right, that, and it's like you start off with it so dense that there's nothing to grow into, you know, which makes it kind of sound samey. You know, even though there definitely are different sections, different stuff happening, we want to create more contrast, you know? It's like if I'm not giving you the full spectrum of colors, I just give you a muted kind of palette. Like I'm colorblind now. But you see what I'm pointing to. You know, if we just started off sparser layers and then just kept introducing them, that would create a lot more depth to the track, make it a lot more of a journey. I would say, like, reduce it, you know, reduce it to those main musical elements and build from them. You know, that's your foundation. Right? And even within the atmosphere, with all the complex layers, you know, I would be sure to really make them have their own pocket, you know, in the mix, not just EQ, but kind of just the range they're occupying. Right? Have them be, like, distinctly rhythmic, or also distinctly pitched, you know, and then all of a sudden you get the best of both worlds going on, you know. If you better call me Hannah Montana or whatever. Let me in. Let me up to the, okay. Bless. Bless. Action flip. Buckets.
Right now I'm on action. I'm not a trap, this should have got me. Right now I'm on action. I'm not a trap, this should have got me. No chat, no chitter. I'm a target hitter. Go get her and a giver. Feeling when I never had a figure. Hungry, looking at my dinner. Vanity really is a killer. Think it's a joke when you see a man smiling, reconsider. I got a lot of vigor. Won't talk cause a lot of man are inner. I try to act like I wasn't a beginner. From day one I've been a heavy hitter. Moving slowly can make everything else go quicker. You can laugh and snigger, but you can't be a winner and a figure. That's two things that differ. I'm a winner, that's why I can't give up. Got so many flows of a river. I'm a love transmitter, so don't come around talking litter. Truth is an ego killer. Think you're hard, but I think you'll find that the truth is. Right now I'm on action. Action, no I'm not acting. Active, back to the force of sapling. Active, no I'm not passive. No, I'm not a trap, listen you got me. Active, man I'm on action. See what it is, don't need no caption. The man them's energy matching. Right now I'm on action. Action, no I'm not acting. Active, back to the force of sapling. Active, no I'm not passive. No, I'm not a trap, listen you got me. Active, man I'm on action. See what it is, don't need no caption. Right now I'm on action. Action, no I'm not acting. Active, back to the force of sapling. Active, no I'm not passive. No, I'm not a trap, listen you got me. Active, man I'm on action. See what it is, don't need no caption. The man them's energy matching. Right now I'm on action. Action, no I'm not acting. Active, back to the force of sapling. Active, no I'm not passive. No, I'm not a trap, listen you got me. Active, man I'm on action. See what it is, don't need no caption. The man them's energy. No chat, no chitter. Still grinning up bitter. Roll up, deliver. Gonna make my enemies shiver. Don't come around and sliver. NOV never been a sick filler. Think I'm older, truth is I'm deuce I'm a ringer. Bad winner not picker. So don't come around here and picker. Get cool then picker. K-time be alert and sitter. All this talk they skate on ice until it gets thinner. Good tidings bringer. Can't hate like knife or scissor. Thank God for life, it could have been grimmer. Why would I go with the flow with the source of the James on river? Some men are grateful for them, time for other man simmer. What's killer. Right now I'm on action. Action, no I'm not acting. Active, back to the force of sapping. Active, no I'm not passive. Doubt I'm not attracted, you adapt me. Active, when I'm on action. See what it is, don't need no caption. The man just energy passion. Right now I'm on action. Action, no I'm not acting. Active, back to the force of sapping. Active, no I'm not passive. Doubt I'm not attracted, you adapt me. Active, when I'm on action. See what it is, don't need no caption. Right now I'm on action. Action, no I'm not acting. Active, back to the force of sapping. Active, no I'm not passive. Doubt I'm not attracted, you adapt me. Active, when I'm on action. See what it is, don't need no caption. The man just energy passion. Right now I'm on action. Action, no I'm not acting. Active, back to the force of sapping. Active, no I'm not passive. Doubt I'm not attracted, you adapt me. Active, when I'm on action. See what it is, don't need no caption. The man just energy.
That went hard. That went hard. There's no question. Certified. I would say though, my quip here is it's kind of the structure. It's kind of like the energy level. There's just like a few moments in here. Well, just right at the beginning, like you kind of like have this pseudo drop thing, which is cool, and I can imagine that being like just a really mean kind of minimal fake out. But it's also a little confusing, you know. Like I would imagine like on the dance floor or whatever, like people just kind of like I don't know if I'm supposed to be getting down at this part or like the drop hit yet, like you know. And there's kind of similar breakish sections there. And once you get into it, there's no getting out of it, you know. I feel like which sounds cool in concept, but I think we could use a refresher, you know, some contrast just to make it when it comes back in just really fucking hit you. You know, like it's when you walk outside and it's cold as fuck. Okay, you in the warm house, it's cold as fuck. That's sending chills down your body. The biological alarms are going off, right? Versus like if you've been outside in the cold all day, like you're used to it. Like, or if you're in the water, you know? That's why we got to step out of the water every once in a while to get that chill again. Or whatever. Yeah, I agree with Chef Panda. Yeah, there really is nice tension getting into it though. And I'm just thinking like in these sections, like we can alter the vocal processing. We can alter the kind of layers, the texture coming off, you know, it just kind of gives like dark sub, you know. But like if we kind of change how the vocal feels in some parts, we can really bring emphasis, you know. And like, you know, mess with the vocal more, I would say, in general, because that's half the track in a lot of ways. You know, I mean, even though we touch it the least, I think to the listener, it's a big part of the whole. You know, so play with it, chop it. You know, and along with that, like the structure, like it wasn't really making me appreciate the acapella. Because it's kind of riffing the whole time, versus if it goes away and comes back, then okay, then I'm like ooh, and it really locks into flow. That's the other thing, you know, like the acapella, it felt almost decorative at points because you're working the bass so much, versus like laying down a flow so the whole thing comes together. You know, I mean there's you can lean either way, but you see what I mean. Lean any way you want, in fact. And, you know, kind of time the variations, set them up, place them. You know, just look out for. All right, don't get me wrong, but Aren't the radio edits supposed to be shorter than 5 minutes and 41 seconds?
I feel the soul breaking when I look outside. I feel the soul breaking when I look outside. I feel the soul breaking when I look outside. It gets me so down. I feel the soul breaking when I look outside. I don't know how. I feel it gets me so down. I'm running, don't know, don't know, don't know, don't know, don't know, don't know, don't know why. Don't know, don't know, don't know, don't know, don't know, don't know. Don't know, don't know, don't know, don't know, don't know, don't know, don't know how. Don't know, don't know, don't know, don't know, don't know, don't know. I'm running to the way, don't know why, 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 don't know why. I'm moving to your eyes, your eyes, running to the way, your eyes. I'm running to the way, don't know how, don't know how, don't know how, don't know how, don't know I feel the soul breaking when I look outside. It gets me so down. Gets me down. I'm running. I'm running to the way.
This is cool. You definitely did the structure thing here, though, that kind of repeating sections twice as much as traditional structure or whatever, or reasonable structure. Yeah, you're right. It gets the house pass. They can do everything twice as long. I mean, maybe they can. I mean, I think definitely a lot of tracks like that. But beyond the time of it and the kind of pace of it, like, I mean, at the halfway points, you can, I don't know, I hear you adding things, but so you have like, okay, it repeats twice or whatever, then you add and kind of change, and then so on and so forth, you know? Like, add more things at the halfway point, give more attention indicators, you know, if you're going to stretch it out that long. You know? Or just give a hair more elements to keep people engaged for that period, you know? or not even hear more elements, just have that much tighter of a loop that you want to hear for that much longer, you know, even if it doesn't have the most layers. You feel. Nonetheless, like there's some stuff in the drop, right? The sub, like I hear it, it's hitting, and it has a clear pulse to it. That's a little different from like the plucks. It's too loud. Like also it has this like attack, kind of rolling attack. It just makes it sound kind of loose. Like I don't know. It doesn't sound bad. It just sounds a little weird or almost like unintentional in the way it's hitting. Right. 99 open hat on the offbeats. But the thing is, you're like boom, boom, boom. Don't know why. Boom, 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 boom. Like that works. That works there. But it's dissonant, you know. Don't know why. Boom, 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 boom. Don't know why. Boom, boom, boom. That's a lot nicer, you know. In my opinion, when you change it to the root. Don't know why. Don't know why. You know. And the same thing with the synth elements, you know. They didn't sound like doesn't sound like they're sitting completely out of key. They're just not really respecting like the root, you know, the resolve where the bass is pulling that gravity, you know. You know, for this kind of atmospheric beat, maybe a little more on the ear candy type beat, John, whatever the hell. You hear what I'm saying? Nice. That was fire. Nice stuff from Theme. It feels like it's been a minute since I heard like a longer composition from him, but this was excellent. And it's very different, very unique in its feel. You can hear the musical ideas behind it. It goes like just that pulsing kick groove, pounding even, and the bass following it. That's really nice. And the key here is like modulating the sound, you know? It adds so much, you know? Everyone at this moment was like, my God, you know? Because it keeps rising up, you know? Modulate your shit, you know? Other dudes would just lay it down and not touch the knob and miss out on all the goodness. Yeah, insane moment. I just think like and this bless me. It's like switching up the vibe or whatever. I like that. I think like in terms of ideas, Like it's in terms of IDs, what is it? It's not clear where the main kind of idea is, right? And to add to that, we can kind of frame that with a bit longer, more developing, intro, breakdown, outro type deals. So I think this could be a tune. This could be a release. Thanks, Meta Cortex Vortex, for the verbose message. And lovely vibes. Themes on some different type beat. Because where else would you hear such a concoction?
When I walk up in the piece, I ain't got any speed. I'm a bad man, but goddamn it, motherfucker, you ain't gotta like me. When I walk up in the piece, I ain't got any speed. I'm a bad man, but goddamn it, motherfucker, you ain't gotta like me. When I put up in my whip, bitches wanna talk shit. I'm driving, I'm glad, I'm sliding these motherfuckers' ass, did you see it? When I walk up in the piece, I ain't got any speed. I'm a bad man, but goddamn it, motherfucker, you ain't gotta like me. When I walk up in the piece, I ain't got any speed. I'm a bad man, but goddamn it, motherfucker, you ain't gotta like me. I ain't studying these hoes. Need to talk what you know. And stop talking about hoes. I'm sick of them licking, just mad at they chose. I know y'all cool, y'all broke. Y'all job just hanging up ghosts. Step to me, get burnt like toast. Motherfuckers adios amigos. Goes, lows. I don't brag, I mostly boast. From the VA to the LA coast. Is it go?
I ain't got any speed.
When I walk up in the piece, I ain't got any speed. I'm a bad man, but goddamn it, motherfucker, you ain't gotta like me. When I walk up in the piece, I ain't got any speed. I'm a bad man, but goddamn it, motherfucker, you ain't gotta like me. When I pull up in my whip, bitches wanna talk shit. I'm driving, I'm glad, I'm sliding these motherfuckers' ass, did you see it? I'm gripping these girls. Did you hear? Brown. You try to put it down. Now you ain't getting loud. Better calm down, force my gas down. I need my drum, bass, high again. When I walk up in the piece, I ain't got any speed. I'm a bad man, but goddamn it, I'm a bad man. See it.
That went crazy. Vocals nice, and you really, it's very very much like a remix in a good way, because you just let that vocal speak, lay down a clean beat behind it, nice sub, and just let it do its thing. And the drops are really mean, cool phrases, cool sounds. I think a big thing I was hearing, it's like the mix, like we can like this has like festival banger potential. I really hear. So like the mix and the phrase, like the kind of weirdness in the fill is a little sketchy, but I can get behind it, right? But yeah, like I just feel like I want the mix louder. It's like all sub. I would love an escalation. Just say build up, bro. No, he's not wrong. Could expand upon that. I feel like because he respected the kind of structure, and stuck to it during the repetition, it created a clear feeling like, oh, it's about to go down, even though there wasn't a lot of effects, kind of new elements ushering that in. But not that it couldn't benefit from those, you know? And kind of here, I skimmed through it just because I've been skimming through more today. But I also, because it wasn't really giving me anything, it was just kind of like beat in and out, you know? TBH could just outro after here. No, almost definitely could outro over here if you're just trying to get the banger and get out, you know? Get the bag. Holy fuck. Holy fuck. No, I don't want my mouse to work, actually. I've decided. Okay. Yeah. That's where I stand, at least. Run it up. It's not just the sub is too loud. Push the mid and high basses more. Push them, wide them, sauce them, spice them. Everything that is nice and don't forget the rice and...
What are the chances I land? Tired of doing this dance time and time and again. I'm drawing a line in the sand. Uninspired, cooling romance, a loon with a pen. See, back in the day I was evil Knievel. I'd jump every bus for you. Now as of late I feel fragile and feeble, but I wouldn't tell you the truth. You never planned to stay. Never really loved me, you just fucked me, called me pretty, then discarded me. You never planned to stay. And I can't help but notice as these things get out of focus, all the problems and how they begin to weigh. And I hate to be a drag, so tipsy on your pity, but singing to the dead won't bring you back. No, singing to the devil
Fire. No, that earned a bit of time. That did earn a bit of time. I like this effect. You brought the fidelity of the vocals up a bit for this drop. You know, like even like for contrast, you can even change the whole kind of mixing. What was done here? An ominous breeze to indicate it's an omen. That's why we love risers, because all omens are marked by ominous breezes. Animus. Scanning this. And I like the piano chords. These are a lot nicer than I think like the ones you've had in some other tracks. I like that. And you kind of process them to be a little deeper, a little less dry, you know? And that all helps. Similar thing though. Like I just straight up think there's just been an infection among FIFAs that we make sections twice as long. Maybe I like did that in a template. If I did, that's not what I wanted. This isn't what I wanted. This wasn't what I asked for. No, I don't know. But like parts like this, yeah, a little shorter. You know, I can respect the pacing, especially on a track like this. You make use of pretty much each section. You're always adding things. Like one thing though, it's like we get the indie vibes, but like it's worth exploring. You know, like processing a really clean vocal. You know, like not getting the in the mic, you know, the rumbling, maybe a little like mic moving rumbling as a treat, right? I think it's like, yeah, vocal execution, nice. I think it's getting better. But still, like, I wouldn't fear like clean compression, you know, clean compression, clean vocal, you know, even a little bit of pitch correction, you know, you can do it so it's essentially unnoticeable. But yeah. Beyond that, I don't know. Still, like, I would push for a high fidelity sound in every right, you know? Even if that means imitating or resorting to quote unquote cliches, right? I think it's a good thing to master and then work into your own thing. And that goes for everyone, you know, because just this very experimental ethos. At the same time, if you limit yourself from that avenue, that's less experimentation. You could be This was cool. No, I like the kind of sub phrasing, the sub riffing, you know, outlining some kind of different harmony feels and places. And the kind of drums and the just the rhythmic play was interesting. I think like we can kind of I like that. I think we can simplify that a bit into more distinct sections and more distinct ideas, right? You know, you kind of just riffing, soloing almost, which is kind of cool, but don't let it be noodling. My thing is like sub too much. We love that sub. And there could just be more order to the high end. I think more order, more density to the atmosphere. You know? Because even though there were some interesting things kind of tickling me, there was just kind of no theme to pull out. There was no clarity. You know, not really able to discern much of a kind of texture and atmosphere. Besides just like loud sub and intermittent FM wubs. Which doesn't sound too bad, but you can hear it. And maybe a bit more like a break from the sub and kind of pauses in the phrases or like bends in the sub or it goes higher at some point so the articulation is different. You know, a lot of tracks on here just hit kind of sustain sub, you know. Where it's like, okay, you can switch some notes and like switch the flow a little bit to give you some contrast, right? But the ultimate contrast, the ultimate button to hit is just off, on in the end. So let that be musical. Special Honey, he stays hitting, so. Yeah, and the other thing maybe Lee could bring together, you know, like there's cool atmospheres, but there's no musical idea on the top, you know? Like even in the kind of things hitting, there's no discernible rhythm, you know? Even if they're atmospheric, but they're hitting at a consistent rhythm, even that can do something for you, you know? You know, kind of phrase that and yeah, give it a lead. You can give it melodics on the top, especially because it sounded like the bass was kind of being musical, you know, it wasn't so like just root note half steppy, you know, there were some kind of chords to outline in there. I'm I like this one. This one went hard. Cool chord progression in it. I feel like the main thing is just really just simplify it again. It just feels crowded, real crowded. You know, which might be all right for some really peak sections, you know, like the second drop or something, but it just kind of has this crowd, then they stay there. I can't, they're just, where's my breathing room? The other thing is, although the progression is cool, very cool in fact, it's the harmonic minor scale, it's very nice. But I hear it going on. It's like a 16 bar progression or like 8 bar progression. I don't know off the top of my head. It's twice as long as progressions we're usually used to and kind of loopy produced, whatever, music. Which can work, but it feels a little hard to follow at points, especially like I think when you have longer progressions like that. Usually the arrangement is sparse, you know, like instrumental music, you know, or solo guitar, piano, whatever, music, you know, classical, whatever, jazz, stuff like that, where it's more stripped down so you can pay attention to, you know, the harmonic content. That might be where it's better suited. But in here, it just feels a little long. Also, it might just be if it was like a more typical or a little like had some kind of repeated ideas in the like continuation of it through the second kind of part of it, whatever. I'm losing the words here, but that could also make it work. I don't know, that just threw me off a little, overcrowded a bit. No, I can count like 4 layers here. I mean, more than 4 layers. I don't know why I said that. We got the riser. We got a bunch of zaps. We got normal drums. We got the amen. We got this like Reese bass in the background. We got like the wub bass, and there's like another random wub that comes in. And then like, all right, have you lost track at this point? Because that's how your listener. You know, it's just excessive. And, you know, if you're going to layer this much, like, I don't know why I'm inflected in that sense. Peculiar of me. But if you're going to layer this much, keep some a little more back. Let them be details. Let them be supporting characters. You know, it's like, no, but this is an awesome concept. It's like you have a TV show, but just every character is on screen at once all the time. And they're crammed into a tiny room. No, but that would be a fire show. So, disregard what I've said. All right. Afterlife. Ooh, it's clean. It's clean. I like that. That was cool. I agree. Mild T-word vibe. Mix is possibly flawless. I agree. He's always pristine with it. He's always pristine. I'm willing to bet he uses half as much OTT as the rest of us. Could this be the cause of this? I don't know. But definitely a symptom. Probably a little sub heavy, but it's called bass music. No, I don't really have much to complain about. You know, the structure's on point. It comes in and out, clean mix, you know, dense atmosphere. I just think like almost plays it a little safe, I guess, in terms of like this loop is very consistent, you know? Nothing to really challenge it. You know, I would like maybe a little like B section on it, you know, dun 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 dun. You know, or we can kind of a counter melody to it. Dun 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 do 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 boom dun dun do 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 boo do 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 boom. That could be fun. You know, or the kind of phrase in the bass playing off that. And that's the other thing, like, you know, a thing easy enough to take from a lot of other bass music is, or at least to experiment with. Like in the intro, you know, they have the melodics and stuff, but in the drop, it comes out, it's only bass, you know? Or at least in the drop, you can take out the melody, you can still keep the atmospheres or, you know, something to challenge that, you know? You know, like it keeps the vibe and the atmosphere consistent, but, you know, let's push the journey where we can. Definitely earns a bit of repetition. You know, and there's a lot of ways you can vary a melody, you know. So dun 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 you know. Now that could be a fucking fire drop. It would be kind of weird to work in, but that could become a riff. You know, that kind of thinking, really it's just how to like expand phrases and create a little more contrast in places. You know, take risks. That's what I hear, at least. Right. Cool track. See, my thing is like, okay, it was hitting here, like boom, you know, that kind of phrase, classic phrase. But just because you committed to it, like it was a clear phrase and you repeated it, you know, repeated it like the 4 times or whatever. I felt like I wasn't necessarily getting a clear phrase at other points, right? And the other thing is, I mean, it's really just pick one thing and repeat it a lot of time. The other thing is like the phrases you do have, they a lot of time they just fall into this one bar, just you know, that type of deal. Let's break out of that. Let's break out of that. Just feels a little like scatterbrained at points. That's the word. You know, and it's like it's kind of stuff like this. Like we're playing with it. We're kind of creating some fills, playing with some tension. But at the same time, you know, there hasn't been a lot laid down. There's not a lot of pattern to create a discrepancy. You know, we have drums and you know, we can change that whatever low progression, or it can be you know, kind of groove it up more with the drums and kind of the syncopation. You just swing on whatever on the element that is there. You know, it doesn't really sink into this either before getting out of it. I like this funky, like little scale arp riser thing. Has a weird, like, retro vibe to it. Something you don't always hear. You know, and just really push through the main idea. Yes, structure. The ingredients are there. And that's the thing with a lot of these dudes. Like, a lot of these dudes have cool shit. If you just practice structure and nothing else from this point, that could carry your whole career. No, I mean to say, like, you're solid. Like, a lot of you are solid. It's just push what you have, you know? Frame it, present it. You know, it's a communication. You want to be understood. That's what I think. That was a lovely track, really nice. Highlight. An interesting vibe. I don't know, like both the music itself and kind of like the art for some reason is giving me like Animal Crossing vibes. Like this, bro. Down. That's lovely. Kind of bendy, shiny thing. Very spacey, clean vibe energy to it. Vibe energy. This is. You gotta say them together. Specify. One thing I was hearing in my head, at least, the voices. Besides the voices, okay. I was just hearing like more of a lead melody in parts. Like over here, I was thinking. You feel what I mean? That and kind of mess with the be a bit more chord structured with the bass, you know, maybe a little more riffy in that regard as well. Really texture play on point. I think Snilk really mastering the kind of texture atmosphere John's. Yeah, and I just think a bit, I mean, I just feel like a broken record. I say this so much, every feedback, and tonight especially, but they won't repetition. You know, pick the musical idea, put it up front, present it, you know? I think if you have that in tandem with all the crazy atmospheric play and sound design, like that's a force to be reckoned with. And it's getting there. You know, I'm not saying there's no musical sauce and repetition in there, but lean into that even further, push it even further ahead to beauty and perfection. I don't know why this comes to say, but it's like ultimately like we're gonna excel in what we like. I mean that's kind of obvious, but you know, like I can't necessarily force you to love melodic harmonic ideas more than sound design. But I wouldn't limit yourself telling yourself, oh, I'm only the sound design guy. You know, not that Snilk is guilty of this. I think they're heavier contenders in terms of that. Yeah, but even if you step away from such a sound design grind for a minute, doesn't mean it's gone, or it doesn't mean you could come back to it. You know, like, you know, it's a chair, you know, you get a little stool that got 3 legs. You're not standing very well on one leg. You know, you can combine multiple sides of music to create a better whole, I think, than if you're so like top heavy or whatever. Long story short, try learning theory. All right, you're just listen for it. Very cool track. I like that. That's probably one of my favorites thus far. It went hard. I agree with the sentiment. The first feel is a little different. It's a little too different. And TBH, I just wasn't getting into it. I wasn't getting into it. And just didn't quite have the transition into the dark bits. I love the dark bits though. Fucking hits. Crazy sound design per usual. Yeah, relative minor / major. I wish the fucking keyboard sounds were working. No, I can get them working a little. So like, if you're gonna play with harmony, like I would create transitions through harmony. Very different. So one thing which it gets weird, like bass music, I mean, as I'm kind of realizing. Oh yeah. No, it's fun. But it's not quite just always minor. It's not really minor. If you're gonna transpose, it would actually be to kind of so you'd be or whatever. But then you go because Phrygian is on the third note, right? If you're willing to entertain a bit of theory. Right. That, and I'm also just thinking that type of deal. I feel like that almost works better with bass music, the double harmonic scale. Yeah, so you can kind of go. Yeah, so I mean, even if it just like you can still go to the minor, right? So you can go F, C. I mean, voice a little different because that sounds too happy. So it sounded like D. And the other thing is, so you can do F, C, or you can do F, A major. I think it's like in the shower or like in the box or in the cabinet. Yeah, but just some stuff on theory, right? An excuse for me to play. Fun. That's all I'm gonna do though. And stop a little down, kick a little up. The push and pull is so mean though. I almost have nothing to complain about. I mean, that one kind of squonk sounds like Feedback Friday to me, but D2 whatever, I don't know. No, I don't much to complain about outside of that transition. Just an excuse to me to play the keys and talk about theory for a minute. But you can also do it with effects, but a lot of times, like, I mean, I've been gravitating towards, like, No amount of effects will beat literally just like, you know, just like a chord, just like voice leading. I can't do it again because it won't be nicer than the first resolution. But entertain theory. I really like that one. Vibe on walk. A lot of content. drums hitting, bass line hitting. Like, what's there to complain about? Bit of repetition, but it's earned it. I'll say it's earned it. My only issue is the cover art isn't like edgy enough to fit such a dark and dank beat. This is factual and unquestionable by law. Just make it grayscale. Yeah, and the bass is noting a little bit too. The thing is, some of the notes it sits on a little too long. You know, might want to kind of structure around a clearer progression at points. Like, sound like you were clearly going between like this kind of like F, C, or like F, E. But it got a little obscured at points. You know, and as Colin Wise says, the subconscious likes tonality. I think it's pretty true. Like, that's what 90% of music is based around. We got scientific proof, apparently. No. But listen for that. See where you can put variations, you know? Like, I said it before. Like, we can play it safe. We can play it structured. But sometimes more layers, you know, taking a risk is what takes it from good to great. You know, why not strive for greatness? Whatever they be saying in the motivational videos. I don't know. Never watched them. And that also includes, you know, like, I think the intro could benefit from a kind of top musical line like I was doing on the keys at first. Even just like, you know, that's just F minor pentatonic. That could take you pretty far. This is a cool pick. He's exiting the comfort zone. This is not just a grainy pastel. This is a grainy photo of a moth and of birds in the sky, which actually goes fucking crazy. Like, maybe it's like a big ghost moth, if you think about it. They're definitely behind the birds, though. So that's the depth of the image. Okay. Anything else for me to say? Yeah. Lead melodies, lead top melodies. Like, I think that's what... I mean, almost some dance music in a way almost lacks that at points. So DJs can fuck with it and layer shit, you know? But take it from a beat to like a song, you know? And it doesn't always mean vocals. Having a vocal like element, almost vocal like structure, you know, verse, chorus, can all contribute towards that. And pushing more musical elements, you know, instead of all production, all textures, whatever. You know, leads, chords, rhythmic, bass line, riffs, you know, play it out. We evolve.